You've been to Iowa a few times, and obviously you guys won pretty comfortably here a month or two ago. What do you expect? What kind of down in Iowa City on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean they're a different animal at home, and the pace they play with, the confidence their shooters kind of have back at home, just like any other team that likes playing at home. But I think the biggest thing going into Iowa is kind of the pace and the thrust that they're going to come out with us. I mean, especially off the rip, kind of just after how the game went here at the Kohl Center. We're expecting a team that's going to be ready to go and ready to play early for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I guess before this year there was a lot of home and home. Home,
Yeah.
Uh, in the Big Ten, do you miss that? I mean, you get some of that with Minnesota, and I think Illinois is coming up.
Yeah.
But it's not like previous years where you would, like if you lost to UCLA, you could think, man, I can't wait till they get up.
Play again.
Yeah, here.
It's a little different. Obviously with the addition of the new teams, it's hard to get the certain matchups of the two games a year. But I mean, looking at kind of how we did, it was the teams who were kind of close to us in Illinois, Iowa, and Minnesota. But I'm glad that we got to take the trip to LA. Getting to play USC and UCLA down over there in California was my first time and had a blast. But you kind of just take with it kind of what it is. I mean, we're only going to play UCLA one time, so we can't really worry about that anymore. But you just try to approach it game by game. You go back and watch the film from the first Iowa game, see what might have worked for you for the first time and what you could use for the second time. But you also never know either. We might play these teams again in the Big Ten tournament, circle back around and play UCLA maybe, or a Purdue. I know we only played them once. Might see them again in the Big Ten tournament. But that's why we keep a binder of all of our scouting reports, and we got those to kind of look back on. But just kind of like going along with the change of only playing some teams one time this year.
You mentioned, Iowa probably coming here or being ready to play.
Yeah.
Kamari, last time you guys played, you kind of mentioned how their defense kind of, it just didn't seem like they wanted to play defense. Seems like a couple of Iowa players are using that as motivation for this week's game. Do you kind of, when you guys go into, their environment after what happened here, is there a difference in the way you have to approach things, or how do you kind of see things knowing you're going there trying to, knock them off their own?
Right. I think every team, winning is hard, and winning on the road in the Big Ten is especially hard, no matter if you're playing, in Jersey Mike's Arena in New Brunswick, or you're playing Iowa at, was it Carver?
Yeah.
Carver Hawkeye. So yeah, like you said, we know that they're going to come out, be ready to play at a really high level, at a fast clip. We're doing everything we can to prepare here these next 2 days. But no, I think you can expect a team in Iowa that's going to come out and try to throw the first punch. And yeah, like I said, winning is hard, and especially on the road. Kind of the first team to fracture, so to say, is usually the first team that loses. But I think the maturity and the veteranness we have, if that's a word, in this locker room, I think we do a good job of kind of controlling that and making sure everybody's in a good headspace going into the game in our preparation.
This year, everyone's talked about your offense, but the defense has really stepped up in the last few games. As Coach Gard mentioned, you guys, especially working through ball screens pretty well defensively. You're a big part of that. This game, you're going up against two pretty good shooters with Dix and Sanford. Kind of, does that put an extra emphasis on the guards and with the communication, with the bigs, and trying to, you step over those ball screens, being able to help defend, especially off the ball, when those guys are going to go get the ball?
For sure. I mean, I think a day or two before our game against Indiana, we had one of our best practices in terms of how high level the communication was at on the defensive side of the ball before the game. And you kind of were like, wow, and you saw what it could be. I know Coach Gard and the staff always tells us you've only tapped into your potential. We are definitely not at our full. But I think those are the things you can see of what the team we have can be. But yeah, like I said, going on the road, everything is extra instrumental in what you need to be sound in, ball screen D, finding the shooters. Traditionally Iowa's had a lot of guys who can shoot the ball at a really high level, so it's going to take everybody, not just the 3 guards or 2 guards or however many guards we got out there working together, but the 4s and 5s and then the 1s, 2s, and 3s all being on the same page, trying to get collective stops as a team together.
Max, how much of that defensive improvement do you think is just reps together?
Yeah. I think it's definitely reps. Nothing ever comes to you in life just out of the sky. It's something that you have to work for. But I also think it's our comfortability with one another and kind of realizing where different strengths are on defense, and kind of where we struggle at, where we can try to cover that stuff up. And I think we have a great kind of spark plug in Kamari McGee coming off the bench, being a hound on both sides of the ball, defensively and offensively. And we just got different guys that can throw different looks at you. We got Jack Janicki, who can move his feet really well, but he's got like a 6'6" wingspan. We have Nolan, who's a 7-foot, playing the 4 for us right now, but then we also bring Gilly and we bring Xavier in at the 4, who are a little bit quicker, but also have good length and, good mobility and things of that nature. So I think we're but we've kind of found our footing in terms of who we can be and who we are defensively. And just, how much that side of the floor means to us and not just the offensive side. Obviously everybody wants to talk about how good we shoot it and how good we are offensively, but we know the game is won on the defensive side of the floor. And, we kind of take a personal sense of pride in that and stopping your man and stopping the other team and winning those battles.
2 games, the Northwestern game after the career high for Gilly, he mentioned, how he bleeds Wisconsin. He's a guy from, Arrowhead, a guy who's grown up here. You're another guy like that. Just what does it exactly mean to bleed Wisconsin, to kind of live this culture, and to pretty much be in this environment?
I mean, you just know you're fully immersed in it once you're here. You dream about it as a kid, wanting to play at this level and wanting to play for this school. But you don't really understand it, like I said, until you fully are thrown into the fire and understand it. And you just see how many people care about this program, about this school, and that's the cool thing. You feel a sense of how can I say this? You feel a sense of pride, and it's bigger than yourself, and you're not just winning for the 15 guys in the locker room and the 5 coaches in the locker room. You're winning for everybody on campus. You're winning for everybody back in Heartland. You're winning for everybody in the Fox Valley, because it means just as much to them as it does to us. I think we all kind of feel that pride, especially being in-state guys coming back. Well, me coming back, him being here, but a guy like Kamari too, playing. I mean, he came from GB, so but. You know what I mean, and the sense that we feel of watching it and how that felt, and knowing how proud our younger selves would be watching us play now, and trying to feed that back into the young guys and give that back to our community as much as we can.
I wanted to ask about the recruitment of John Tond. You recently talked about how you hit him up after he entered the transfer portal. Was that something that you did on your own initiative, or did the coaches ask you to do that?
Well, I didn't know he was in the transfer portal. I mean, feels like everybody enters that at some point in their college career at this point, included, flashing light here. But I'm pretty sure everybody knows the story. I had taken a visit to Colorado State. He was my guy who showed me around on that tour. And then kind of Coach Krabenhoff had asked me about him, if I knew of him. That was the first I'd heard he was in the portal. Immediately after that, a text was sent. I still had his number from that visit at Colorado State. And I kind of, jumped on that, tried to get in contact with him literally as quick as I can. I was like, after some summer workout, and I immediately went to my phone, tried to text him, see if I had his number. But we've always kind of been in communication ever since the Colorado State visit. I'm glad we could get him here.
What'd you say to him?
How much of a blessing it is if you are able to come to the University of Wisconsin, and you might want to jump on that opportunity if it's presented to you. But really just telling him that I wanted to play with him. He was a guy who was about the right things, could tell that at my visit at Colorado State, and was sort of someone that I knew that he'd be a fun dude to play with, and not even a fun dude to play with, but be a friend of, be a fan of. Now that he's here, it's everything and then some of kind of what we've gotten with John Tonje.
Did he get back to you quick?
Oh man, I can't remember. It was quick. It wasn't. It was the same day. I know that. He said his phone was obviously blowing up from everybody kind of contacting him and trying to get him to their university or college or whatever. But no, he got back to me quicker than expected for sure.
Max, when there's this many new guys, you just don't know how chemistry is going to work or how long it's going to take to cultivate that.
The what?
The chemistry. Like when there's this many new, when the roster turns over the way it did, you just don't know. Chemistry-wise, did it seem to you like it was pretty quick, or I'm sure you played a role in helping
no.
them, right? Like,
I mean, I'm a goofball, and I'm pretty, I like to keep it light in the locker room, and I think that's a really easy way of kind of finding your footing, being a new guy, being a younger guy, especially coming into their first year at college. And like I remember me being a freshman at Wofford, I was scared to talk to the seniors and talk to the juniors and the upperclassmen, and it wasn't because they were bad people, but it was because they've had these prolific college careers and you feel like they're on a pedestal maybe a little bit above you. But I mean, I think the older guys especially do a really good job of keeping it light in the locker room. Everybody's each other's biggest fan. We support each other to the fullest no matter what it is. You could be here for a month or you could be here for 5 years. You're always valued, and we're always going to make you feel appreciated, and it's a natural thing. That's not something that's asked of the coaches, outside noise, stuff like that. We know what we have in this locker room. Everybody's themselves. Like, no one's trying to put on a mask of being another person or trying to fit in, so to say. Everybody's able to be themselves, and it's free flowing. Everything's natural in there.
You talk about pride. Your first year here at Wisconsin was considered somewhat of a down year for the program overall, even though you guys had the run at the end. Now your final year here. It seems like the whole state's rallying around you guys. One of the best seasons you guys have had, at least in recent memory. Do you feel an extra sense of pride knowing that kind of aspect, knowing the success you guys have had, and really everything that's come along with it from the fans?
I never think you should let success change you, and I never think you should let success change who you are as a person. So the people 2 years ago who kind of wanted to play us down and wanted to talk about how that was a down year should stay like that, and if you want to support us, then you can support us. But I think the biggest thing is we know who we are and we know what we have in that locker room. We know how much this program means to the alumni, to the university, to other people around this community. And that's never forgotten, I think, in guys like, I don't want to say the in-state guys, but that's definitely reiterated in that locker room and how much that this means to other people and not yourself. It's always bigger than yourself. But success should never change you, and you should never get complacent in success. And I think the coaching staff does a really good job of breathing that into us. And we had the question the other day about, well, we were going to get picked 12th or something in the conference, and all 3 guys up here said we don't care, and I was one of them, so that was kind of cool. But that's true. That's truly how it is we know what we have, and we believe in ourselves at a really high level. And at that point, you can achieve anything you want in life. If you have a group of individual people who are willing to work as a team together, that beats everything else in life. And the chips are going to fall where they may, but if you have that going on, you can't get caught up in winning and losing. It's the way you're going about it, and the process of how you're going about it is good, and you're improving a little bit every day. That's all that matters.
Coach Guard's pretty particular about who he brings into this program,
Yep.
Specifically transfers. Do you remember what, I guess, sort of that audition was like when you were transferred? I think they moved a little slower than you wanted them to during that process. Did you just remember what that's like, to maybe what he was looking for, just to make sure, okay, this is a good fit?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to be myself regardless of kind of like what they might have been looking for. I figured if they were kind of already talking to me, I was doing something right to begin with, maybe on the court, or just the guy I was kind of raised to be. But I think that's what they do, and something they do at a really high level is the people they bring in this program, not even from a player perspective, but we had 2 or 3 additions on the coaching staff this year, and Greg Steamsma, Lance Randall, and I know we had Coach Penny last year, but now being fully on staff, everything there, it goes into everything, and how we do one thing is how we do everything here. And I think that shows that the people they bring in are always genuine people. It's never just about basketball. It's never just about school. It's never just about one thing. It's can you be good at different things, and where are you valued at here in this program, and what do you do well? And I think that, we recruit and we bring in people who are hardworking, have a really big work ethic, and at that point, it's pretty easy to gel with one another and move forward as a team. But I think that's just a tip of the cap of kind of how Coach Garden, how the coaching staff recruits and how they do things.
More on that with this John, because obviously there's a lot of guys that came back that had to find roles here. It's never easy to bring in a transfer. Maybe you didn't know this at the time, but a transfer is going to take as many shots as he does. There's always kind of that danger of blowing up the chemistry. Why do you think this has worked so well in just a short amount of time?
I mean, like I said, I think it's because of who John Tonje is and how he is off the court. It may be a little harder to be a fan or be a friend of somebody if they were arrogant, if they kind of thought a lot of themselves or something like that. But I mean, John Tonje is the complete opposite. One of the most humble, hardworking guys that I've ever been around. He's not walking around here with a puffy chest and on his tippy toes, expecting some sort of high praise from anybody around here. He wants to be treated as a regular guy on the team, and I think that's kind of what makes everybody feel valued around here. Is everything is earned, nothing is ever given. We'll give you your flowers when you should get your flowers, but we haven't won anything yet. And I think as an older guy, John kind of realizes that, and we're only maybe 3/4 the way through the season. You don't win anything until the end. So, we're all super proud of him though. That goes, I don't want to make it seem like we're not proud of him, or we can't thank him for what he's been doing for us, because he's been doing a lot of good things for us here this season. But he's a winner. He knows the job's not finished yet, and he has that mentality of kind of being a dog and winning the opponent each night. And I mean, that'll carry with him wherever he goes, whether it's in a Badger uniform or in his where's it, Cameroon? Is that who he plays with, his national team? I think it is Cameroon. Whether he goes there, wherever he plays professionally after that, I think that's kind of how John Tonje carries himself.
You kind of mentioned it at the preseason rankings thing, but the DNA of this roster kind of encompasses a lot of guys that were overlooked at some point in their careers.
Right.
I guess, how does that sort of impact how you all individually and together kind of approach practices, games?
Yeah, just like I said, with that, you need to attack every day individually. We can't look at Iowa. Well, we can look at Iowa now, but we had to attack today and what today's challenges brought upon us. We had to break down the film from the Indiana game. We had to lift and get better in the weight room, and then we had to go prep for Iowa. So there was no prepping for Iowa as we're watching the Indiana film. We're trying to learn and take what we can from that game and move forward. And I think that's something that we do so well here, and why we don't get caught up in things like the rankings or where someone might have us picked is because we focused on what's in front of us and not necessarily what's surrounding us. But like I said, everybody's got that same mentality, and I think this is why we got a good thing going right now.